Well, hello there. How are you doing? I thought I'd wear a hat today. So many people wear hats in videos, and I thought maybe people are tired of seeing my bald head, and I don't shave it or anything, so got a hat today. And I've already prepped my face off camera with Van Yulay pre-shave oil. That's some pretty good stuff right there. My razor is going to be this Ever-Ready. It's sort of a lather catcher razor. It's old, and I have, besides a blade in there, I have one of these inserts that is made well, by the fellow that runs Frugal Shaving on Etsy. I can't remember his name. I'm bad with names sometimes, but it's a little insert because I think this originally took either wedge blades or some kind of wider blade than your standard SE single edge blade today. So I got that in there this time. You can go without it. You can get the blade in there, but it's a bit problematic to get the blade in there correctly. So this time I'm trying it with one of these wedges. These are $10 if you let him choose the color, whatever's handy. $12, not just for one, you get several. And you get some other different kinds that I've put in this bag here for different kinds of old wedge razors or whatever if you don't have a wedge blade. And so I got these off Etsy. I'll put a link to that below. And I'm going to use this to shave. In there, I have a PAL, I guess, blade on its first use. And my brush is going to be this Crowley Tosh. It's a sort of a faux tortoise shell handle there, and it's a black badger brush. I've already lathered the soap, which is this Dapper Dragon soaps, also available on Etsy. Ouroboros, or Ouroboros. Yeah, I'm going to butcher names today, I can see. But Dapper Dragon on Etsy, they have some nice soaps available. And I've lathered in the Van Yulay shaving bowl, which has the kind of honeycomb interior, which helps lather. And I'm going to go ahead and wet the brush here and try to get started. I hope you're all doing well out there, by the way. Whoop, that might be too much. I just wanted a little bit of water on there. Let's see if I can get a lather started. I'm pretty sure this will be a good one. How's the weather in your neck of the woods? Now we are actually getting something that actually resembles spring here. Winter was so brutal here this year, and yeah, it's been a little bit warmer. Jacket weather for me because I get cold real easy. I think my diabetes may have something to do with that. And my health's not what it used to be. I tried to do some things today and it was exhausting. I was just doing some yard work and it was kind of exhausting. So, but tried to keep busy, tried to get some things done. And yeah, not too bad. I'm going to commence shaving here. So hopefully in your neck of the woods you're getting something approaching spring also with the razor. Okay, and we'll do the first pass with the grain. I've got a couple of other hats I might, what's the word I'm looking for? I might alternate with this one. This is different. The feel of this with that little plastic wedge in there, kind of an adapter. I have a razor, an Ever-Ready razor, and this is an Ever-Ready razor. I don't know what I said it was. I hope I didn't say it was a gem. It's an Ever-Ready razor. I have one that looks older than this, but it takes a standard contemporary single-edge blade rather well. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to rinse the razor. I will pop down and pop right back up. Interesting. I was just kind of looking at this. well, we'll just continue here. It might slightly change the angle that you want to shave at, because this, I'm beginning to think, and I'm no expert on this, there's a guy that calls himself Fuzzy, I think that's the name of his channel on YouTube. He's an expert on single edge razors, especially the vintage ones. And I guess I should ask him or try to look it up on one of the forums or something, but I almost get the feeling that the blade that originally went with this was not necessarily one of those kind of fat wedge blades, but was some kind of thin blade like the contemporary ones, but wider somehow. And this plastic wedge thing I put in here does make up for that, the lack of width of the contemporary blade that I have in there. That's what I was mostly having problems with, is it seemed like this razor was meant for a wider, just a slightly wider blade, and maybe less than 1 millimeter wider. Excuse me. So I'll continue here. I should get a whole bunch of hats, and wear a different one each time I do a video, like Randy Wright of Polar Shaving does. That's the name of his channel on YouTube, Polar Shaving, and also the name of his Facebook shaving group. All right. So far, so good, I think. It's a fairly comfortable shave. I think it's good to have these little inserts, especially if I end up getting a very old razor that only took the wedge blades or whatever. I'm just mostly making up for the width of the blade, not the thickness of the wedge blade. I don't know for sure what kind of blade this took, but that adapter is, yeah, helping as far as this blade not being wide enough. You can sort of play with it and get it to fit in there, but it's pretty precarious. Once this part is snapped shut, the blade will stay if you can get it in there and get it set. But this adapter helps an awful lot. And that Frugal Shave on Etsy, they have a lot of other things, all made with a 3D printer, or mostly all made with a 3D printer. Some really interesting stuff. I'll show you another example of something I bought from that shop on Etsy before. It was, well, this is a 3D printed lid for, well, for one of these Old Spice shaving mugs that I didn't have a lid for. I opted for the blue. Maybe it originally had a red lid. I don't know, but you might be able to see the ship. It's kind of printed 3D on there, and the kind of similar to that there. And so that fits on there, and I keep it down here and down in magic cabinet number 1 over here. Okay. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. He's got some really, really neat things on there. Really nice. One I can think of that I was thinking about getting sometime in the future is kind of this holder based on an old holder for a Gillette razor and blades and so forth. You'd have to go on the site to see what I mean. I could show a picture of it, but just go to the site. I mean, I could take a still of it and put a picture up here. Or just go to the site and see what he has. Frugal Shave on Etsy. Excuse me. I think I was going to shave with a hat one time before, and it seemed like I thought it might get in my way or something, so I didn't. But I don't know how it would exactly. Maybe if I was shaving way up here or something. Like if I was trying to have really high sideburns or something. Or, well, or a lack of sideburns, I should say. Yeah. This is... Alright. right so far. I don't know if it's perfect, but it's comfortable. Let's see. I think I'm shaving something off here, I hope. If not, well, I'm going to pop out and pop back in freshly leathered for a second pass, which will be across the grain. Okay, let's do that second pass across the grain here. I don't think that plastic wedge is getting in the way. I think I have plenty of blade here, but it's a different feel. Am I shaving? Yeah, I guess I'm getting some stubble off here. Like I said, it just feels so strange. It's different. And if need be, if this starts getting bad, I'll just take out that wedge and try to put the blade in there rather precariously, because it will stay and not be so precarious if I can get it in there straight and then lock the cap down. I don't know, I may be doing something wrong, and I think I'm going to remove this wedge, although, well, I might have the wrong wedge for this kind of blade, but there's only so many kind of wedges. I'll try to explain later if I can. Excuse me. Here, incidentally, is what the paperboard and blister pack packaging for a package of these PAL blades looks like. Some supermarkets still sell these, otherwise they're available online. Kind of a carbon steel blade, I think, or at least they're darker in color, except for the very edge. And speaking of which, I got that in there about as right as I can get it. It might be at a slight angle. And I popped the cap down on it. Now that's the blade without the wedge. Let me see. I think it's in there okay. Sometimes it's hard to get in there without a wedge or whatever, because it just seems like it's not wide enough for this razor, but we'll see. So I took that out. Let's see if there's any improvement. And I'm getting, since I stepped away for a minute, I was getting some dissipation. I was having better luck with this, with this Ouroboros soap from Dapper Dragon. I was having better luck before, but I did step away for a minute to find that that package for those blades. So okay, I'll keep going across here. I'm going to experiment with that this week. I'm going to try this with and without the wedge, see if I'm doing something wrong. I'm obviously getting more audio feedback now. We'll see here. I feel like a video is kind of a bad place to be experimenting with things. And sometimes I'm loath to try new products on a video, although I have been from time to time going ahead and trying new products, such as this soap. Oftentimes, the first time I use any product, including a razor, blade, soap, what have you, I end up getting more benefit out of it, or using it more correctly later on down the line. Then a product can become like an old friend, sort of. Oh, excuse me. Let's see. Still, I don't think this soap normally dissipates like this. My lathers off camera this week have been the best as far as consistency, as far as every day of the week, off camera anyway, having been good. I had basically 6 or 7 straight days of fantastic lathers and fantastic shaves. Very comfortable shaves I'm very pleased with. And I've often had good lathers off camera, but not every day, maybe every other day, excuse me. I'm a little bit amazed how readily I got this blade in here this time, because it's been very hit and miss without some kind of adapter. And I don't know if this razor got messed up somehow or not, but it always seems like it's supposed to have a wider blade, and yet about every other time on this I get the blade without any kind of adapter in there easily. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I was wondering, well, this doesn't necessarily look like, I mean, if you look real closely under the cap and inside this, it doesn't necessarily look like a razor that would have taken a wedge blade. But I wonder if I think maybe they also made a wider disposable blade for these gem or ever-ready type single-edge razors, 100 years ago or more. I don't know that for certain, because I'll see things in the forum and see things elsewhere online, and it's like, did I really see that or did I dream that? I can't remember, because I get overwhelmed sometimes. There's so much to learn about this hobby, there really is. And I'm going to pop out, so to speak, pop back in, freshly lathered for pass number 3, which will be against the grain. Okay, going to do the third pass against the grain here. And this soap, the Dapper Dragon Ouroboros, is not a very hard soap, and you wouldn't think it would be thirsty, but it might be a little bit thirstier than I give it credit for. And you can see it's very soft. It came like that. It's almost like a cream, but it's harder than a cream. And I tried not to overdo the water, but it might have been able to stand a little bit more, but that's what it looks like. And the scent is pleasant, but rather mild. I'd give it a scent strength of only about a 1 or 1.5 out of 5 as far as scent strength goes. Excuse me. Okay, I was just wetting the razor is all. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm going against the grain. Supposed to, anyway. That first pass, or first pass and a half, I'm going to keep those wedges, but I'm not entirely sure they're right for this razor, or I might experiment with them some more. Very handy to have if you have one of those very old lather catcher type razors and don't have a wedge blade for it, I guess. It's an adapter so that you might put a contemporary SE blade in one of those. I very rarely throw anything away, and I very rarely return anything. I can think of one product I have. I'm not even sure I should say what it is. It's a product that is supposed to do more than it does and doesn't, but for its main purpose, or at least for my purposes, it's fine the way it is. So I'm not going to complain about it, and I'm not talking about these wedges. I'm talking about something else entirely. I'm not going to complain, because unless I have a real reason to, I'm not the complaining sort. And then when I do have a reason to, I scream and yell and cry and cuss. But the product does what I want it to do, and which is its main purpose as a product. So I'm not going to worry about it. Excuse me. I need to kind of hurry up here. I hate to hurry, but I don't want this video to run too long. It's already run longer than I meant it to. Of course, I'll cut some of the fat out of it, but I don't necessarily want to do any of that speed shaving that I saw Ken Surfs and James Bayer and one other fellow doing at the Big Shave West. I wasn't actually there. I just saw it on one of their videos. It was kind of interesting. But this may not be my best shave, but it's interesting, I can tell you that. Yeah, like I said, I'll play around with one of those wedges off camera later in the week, and as long as you can get this blade straight in there, which is a little bit difficult, and get that cap pop down on it, it will stay in place. But sometimes getting it straight in there is difficult. I need to subscribe to Fuzzy's channel or just message him or something. I don't know if he's a friend of mine. No, he's not a friend of mine on Facebook. Not at the moment anyway, but I was told by one of my subscribers and or Facebook friends that if you have a question about these old single-edge razors, to ask Fuzzy. Well, I'll be back, and then we'll do pickups. Well, it's pickup time, baby. Here we go. There's something else I was going to say. I can't remember what it was, and it was something that is shaving related and seemed important, but now it's kind of skipping my mind. Might be something I'll have to save for another time. Oh yeah, I was talking earlier about how off camera I'd managed to have some really good lathers, and I got this soap that I had used in a previous video. It was a video where I was having a very hard time getting this soap to lather and tried like 4 different brushes and it didn't work. I got that to lather really well, and I'll tell you how in a minute. Well, that soap I was talking about, I again followed the instructions. I was following the instructions all along, but it was something very simple, and I don't know, maybe not easily overlooked for a normal person, but I'm not all that normal, I guess. I was having trouble blooming it because it does require blooming. It's a very hard and particular soap, but what had been causing me to have trouble blooming it was that since this particular one did not come in a tin, which it filled, the whole tin, at least all the way around, flush with the sides of the tin. This was in a little plastic thing. There was some give, and when I was trying to bloom the soap, the water was just pouring over the sides and maybe into the bottom of it. So I just filled that thing up. I didn't want to drown the soap, but I had to do that in order to make sure there was a layer of water on top. Long story short, that fixed it. I was able to lather it just fine. And so, let me rinse this real quick. I'm going to do some quick, just very quick extra touch-ups or pickups here, but I'm not going to go too crazy with this. And even though I usually have good luck with these blades, for some reason, either this is kind of a dud blade. I'm pretty sure I changed it out because I remember changing it and it looked awfully fresh, like it hadn't been used, but maybe this is a dud blade because I usually have much better luck with these blades, the PALs. And then again, maybe it was that first pass, maybe I wasn't getting all the stubble off or whatever. I'm not going to worry about it right now because I'm kind of running over here. I'll be back. Mr. Towel and recaps and finishing touches. I'll be right back. Here he is. You know him, you love him, you can't live without him. It's our good friend, Mr. Towel. Ooh, had to take the old hat off for a minute just to rinse off the face. No cuts or weepers or what have you, at least. Not my best shave, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. It'll just make tomorrow's shave more interesting if I didn't get all the stubble. Let's see, where am I here? All right. Doing good. Recaps, okay? Start started out off camera, I prepped my face with the Village Barber. I'm sorry, it's not Village Barber. That's a fine product too, but this time actually the Van Yulay pre-shave oil. Very nice stuff. Very nice. Sorry about that, Monica. I think that's a lady's name that runs Van Yulay. Used this ever-ready kind of a lather catcher razor, an old one. In there, I did have, on its first use, one of these PAL single-edge blades. And for a minute, I tried one of these wedges. Let's see. There's actually, oh, here's a duplicate of the one that or maybe the one I had in there. The blade, this razor seems not to be wide enough for contemporary blades, and I was wondering if it originally took a wedge blade. Well, that's an adapter for a wedge blade, and it helped with the width of the blade, but it seemed like I wasn't getting as good a shave. I'm going to play with this week off camera and get a better idea of what I'm doing, because that was kind of a last-minute adjustment there, and those are available from Frugal Shave on Etsy. I'll put a link to them down below. I'll also put a link to these folks down below. Dapper Dragon soaps and my soap from them. Also another shop on Etsy, Ouroboros, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Pretty nice stuff there. Let's see, I lathered using this Crowley Tosh Black Badger brush. Still got a little water in the bowl here, and used the Van Yulay shaving bowl with the honeycombed interior. And I ran out of the witch hazel I had, so I got some of this Thayers witch hazel. It's aloe vera formula, alcohol free. It's a toner, not an astringent, but a toner. Astringents will have about 14% alcohol in them. Very light scent. And I don't think it'll interfere with anything. Okay. I'm going to kind of try potluck here on the... I didn't bring an aftershave in here, but I have aftershaves in here in some of the cabinets, like here in Magic Cabinet number 2. I have some of this Reuzel aftershave. Pretty nice stuff. Shake that up a little bit, and I'll apply some of that to my face. There it is again, without the cap, the Reuzel aftershave. There's also a soap Reuzel that goes with. And, oh, let's see. I guess for a balm, we'll reach for this up here. Oh, I've got to do a long stretch there. We'll just finish up with some of this Proraso sensitive post-shave balm. Oh, wow. Now, this shave is ending very nicely. These are some nice, pleasant scents, and even though you might think that some of this stuff would clash, it's not clashing. It's something very classic about it, and classy, if you want to go so far as to say that. Oh, man. I got to get out of here. I'm going over on my time, and I apologize for that. Oh, God. I'm going to have to cut a lot out of this video. Thank you. Peace.